Fam, what's up, the squad? The session favorite 19 Uncle 10 this season. Welcome back to Cess Talk Sports and BY's PoliSports Tea Time. You already know how we do. We don't just break down the game, we break down the game behind the game, the politics behind the plays, the control behind the whistle. Tonight is bigger than basketball. It's about fear, it's about power, and it's about the price black women keep paying just to show up fully in their truth, in their power, in their passion, without punishment. This week's tea is boiling. After a recent WNBA game, Dallas wing guard DiJonai Carrington walked up to a ref, calm, collected, respectful, to ask about a call. No yelling, no cussing, no confrontation, just a question. But that ref said they felt uncomfortable and called security on her. Let that sit. Now ask yourself, would that same reaction have happened if DiJonai didn't look like DiJonai? If she wasn't bold, confident, tatted up, and unapologetically black? Nah, fam, this ain't just about a blown call. This is about who's allowed to challenge authority without being labeled aggressive, dangerous, or a threat. Because when a black woman defends with intensity, she's a hater. When she asks a question, she's intimidated. And when she plays with fire, she's told she's too much. So tonight, we pulling back the curtain. We asking, who gets to be passionate in peace? Why is black emotion policed in the W? And what does this say about how power still moves through this game? Off the court, in the shadows, where the rules ain't even fair. Stay locked in. We got a lot to unpack. What's up, Lil?
What's going on? That's right, Auntie. And let's be clear. This league loves to sell empowerment. But when black women actually exercise power on and off the court, it becomes a problem. DiJonai wasn't just defending her team. She was defending truth. And for that, she was met with fear. Not because of what she did, but because of what she represents. Now, how does a simple question become a safety issue when it comes from a black woman? That's not about basketball. That's about surveillance, bias, and control. What we're witnessing is a pattern: technical fouls, ejections, league fines, media narratives, all used to regulate black women's behavior, especially when we're dominant, especially when we won't shrink. So when we say this ain't just a game, we mean it's a mirror of how this country still treats black women with power suspiciously. So tonight we're asking the question out loud: who gets to challenge the whistle without being seen as a criminal? And why is there always a security response when a black body gets too close to authority? We're getting into it. The politics, the play, the policing, right here on PoliSports Tea Time.
Now let's talk about who DiJonai Carrington really is. Because this ain't no fluke. This ain't some player who lucked into a roster spot. Nah, this one was built for this moment, both on the court and way beyond it. We talking pedigree. We talking presence. We talking power. DiJonai came up through two of the coldest programs in women's college basketball, Stanford and Baylor. She ain't just hoop. But while she was locking folks up on the floor, she was also stacking degrees like a boss, a psychology major and African American studies at Stanford. Let that sink in. That's not just a hooper. That's not just a scholar. That's a damn blueprint for what it means to be a scholar athletic activist. She didn't just study pick and rolls. She studied systems. She broke down power. She learned how oppression gets dressed up in professionalism, and now she out here living it, resisting it, challenging it every time she laces up. You feel all that way when she plays. She don't just defend. She disrupts. She ain't shrinking herself to fit nobody's comfort zone. She's loud, she's proud, she's polished, and gritty. She got edge and intellect. And that combination makes her a problem for a league that still ain't figured out how to market unapologetic black womanhood without watering it down. She's not just strapping up scores. She's staring down a whole damn culture that wants her to smile, stay soft, and fall in line. But DiJonai, she ain't built for silence. She built for this fight.
Facts, Auntie. Let's talk about how that presence has always made folks uneasy, especially when it challenges the narrative they're trying to sell. Nowhere was that more clear than in her recent matchup against Caitlin Clark, the league's new media darling. Let's be honest, when DiJonai locked Caitlin down defensively, the game went viral for all the wrong reasons. It should have been celebrated, a celebration of elite competition, a showdown between a skilled scorer and a defensive specialist. But instead, DiJonai was painted as jealous, aggressive, and even bitter. That's wild. When white players compete with fire, they're called passionate. But when black women do it, it becomes personal, emotional, dangerous. You had commentators questioning her intent, fans attacking her online, and media outlet writing hit pieces thinly veiled as analysis of DiJonai's performance on the court that became a lightning rod, not because she did anything wrong, but because she dared to be a dominant player against the league that had already chosen, against the league player that the league had already chosen to protect. And let's not forget, she never disrespected Caitlin. She played her game, hard, physical, legal. But the spotlight twisted. That into something else. That's how bias works. It takes a regular game and rewrites the story when a black woman is the author.
And this right here is why this episode matters. Because when DiJonai Carrington locks up on defense, she ain't just guarding her matchup. She's guarding her right to exist fully. Her right to be intense, to be unapologetic, to be unfiltered, unbothered, and undeniable. She ain't clocking in to be your safe black girl brand of representation. She's not here for corporate comfort or sideline smiles. She's here to shake the room, to challenge every system that's tried to box her in, from Ivy Halls of Stanford to the hardwoods of the W. And that makes her dangerous to folks who ain't used to seeing black women own their voice, their rage, their brilliance, all at once. DiJonai out here rewriting the whole playbook, and she's doing it without asking anybody for permission. Let's call it what it is. When they can't outplay you, they try to police you. When they can't outshine you, they try to silence you. That bogus ref call, that weak backlash against her defense, it ain't random. It's control tactics. It's the system flexing its power because it knows she's a threat to the norm. But here's the truth. DiJonai Carrington ain't just a hooper. She's a problem. The kind of system don't got answers for. Beautiful, brilliant, bold, and most importantly, unbought and unbossed. All right, fam, let's break it all the way down because we're not letting this one slide under the rug. This ain't about game heat. Ain't nobody barking. Ain't no chaos. The game was over. The buzzer had sounded. DiJonai Carrington walked up to a ref calmly to ask a simple question about a call. No yelling, no profanity, just a question. And what did that ref do? Instead of answering like refs do every damn night for every other player, they call security. Security on a calm, composed, professional black woman for asking a question? Now let's sit in that. This wasn't about a confrontation. This was about perception. Because when an athlete, especially a black woman, seeks clarity, it suddenly becomes a crisis. But let's be real. This wasn't about what Nate did. It was about what the ref felt. And what they felt wasn't threat. It was fear rooted in bias. So we got to ask the real question. If DiJonai didn't look the way she looks, would they still have called security? Because this ain't about conduct. It's about projection. The ref didn't respond to her action. They responded to their assumption of who she is. That's not a discipline issue. That's a system issue. And we're going to keep pulling these receipts every time it happens because this ain't isolated. This is pattern.
And that fear, it didn't come out of nowhere. It's tied to a long, ugly history in this country where black women tone, posture, and passion are constantly reinterpreted as threats. From the plantation to the press conference, we've been called loud, angry, disruptive, even when we whisper and even when we smile. Let's talk about the angry black woman stereotype, because that's exactly what we got triggered here. The stereotype tells people that any sign of confidence or challenge from a black woman equals aggression. That's why the ref didn't hear a question. He heard a confrontation, not because of what she said, but because of who she is. And this ain't new. We saw it with Serena Williams. Dock points and penalized for what male tennis players do all the time, stand up for herself. We saw it with Angel Reese, crucified for celebrating a win the same way her white counterparts do. This system doesn't just penalize emotion, it racializes it, it polices it, and it tries to shame it into silence. So when DiJonai calmly asked the ref a question and was met with security, that wasn't about safety, that was about control. That was about reminding her who's in charge. But see, when you study systems like DiJonai has, when you've got a psychology and African-American studies degrees in your back pocket, you see the game behind the game and you name it.
Now let's get into what calling security really means. Because we're not sugarcoating it. That move, that's not neutral. That's not protocol. That's power being flexed. When you call security on a black woman, you're not asking for backup. You're making a statement. You say she's a problem. She's a threat. Remove her. That ain't just escalation. That's criminalization in real time. That's how black folks end up punished for existing too loudly. It's the same playbook they run in classrooms when a black girl rolls her eyes and they send in the school cop. It's the same story in retail when a black woman speaks up and gets labeled aggressive. And now they running it back on the WNBA hardwood for the thousands. Let's call it for what it is. If DiJonai was white, this wouldn't even be a conversation. No security, no drama, no outrage. Matter of fact, she might have been praised for being competitive or passionate. But when it's a black woman, her voice becomes a weapon. Her body becomes a battleground, and her presence alone is treated like provocation. But here's what makes this moment powerful. DiJonai didn't flinch. She didn't bow down. She tweeted the truth, clear and direct, no apology in sight. That's what resistance looks like. When you know your worth and you walking in your purpose. And over here, we're not letting this moment get spun. We're not letting it get buried. We saying it loud. This ain't just about DiJonai. This is about every black woman athlete who's been told she's too much just for taking up space unapologetically. We see it. We naming it. We not letting it slide. All right, now let's run the numbers and talk the tech tally. Because when you zoom out from what happened with DiJonai, you start seeing the bigger picture. And that picture ain't pretty. It's patterned, it's predictable, and it's targeted. Let's keep it 100. Black women in the WNBA are getting hit with technical fouls at a wild rate. Not for swinging, not for starting fights, but for doing the same exact things everybody else gets celebrated for. Showing them reacting to contact, talking their talk after getting fouled all game. But here's the kicker. It ain't about what's being done. It's about who's doing it. Because when a black woman shows passion, the refs don't just hear her. They feel challenged by her. And that's when texts start flying. They're not just blowing the whistle. They're blowing it harder and faster when a confident, unapologetic black woman shows up on her own terms. And it's crazy because the same energy that gets other players labeled as competitive, locked in, fiery. When it's a black woman, she's suddenly out of control, disrespectful, or unsportsmanlike. That's tone policing in a jersey. That's bias with the whistle. And it's happening on national TV over and over again. It's not just bad officiating. It's a reflection of how this league and this country still struggles to handle unapologetic black women, showing emotion, intensity, and command without being punished for it. We peeped the pattern. We calling it out, and we're going to keep the receipts ready.
And let's name some names. Ariki, flamethrower on the court, fiery by nature. But you watch her get teed up just for flexing, for clapping, for saying anything to a ref. Meanwhile, other players can throw their arms in the air, scream at refs, even throw towels and walk away clean. Asia Wilson, arguably the face of the league, gets technicals for showing any visible emotion. We've seen her get frustrated and get penalized, while others scream at the ref and get a warning at best. McCowan, she's physically imposing, but never out of control. Still, the moment she as much as stares too long, she's labeled aggressive. And the question we keep coming back to is this. If celebration is part of the game, why does it become a problem only when black women lead the celebration? Why does it feel like black joy has to be regulated? Like black emotion is always one eye roll away from being a problem. It's deeper than the rules. It's about interpretation. That's the quiet bias of officiating, the kind that's not written in the rule book, but gets enforced night after night.
Here's the part folks really don't want to say out loud. Black women in the W are being taught to shrink, not by rule books, but by repercussions. They're being told, tone it down, smile through the bad calls, clap nice, don't clap back, show up, but not too loud, not too proud, not too real. Because if they dare to show up as fully human, with every layer of joy, anger, pride, and passion, they pay the price. Let's be clear. Every emotion black women show on that court gets filtered through a biased lens. And that lens, that's what needs to smoke. Not just the individual refs, it's the system, the culture, and the league's silence that we're calling out. You can't scream empowerment in press releases and then punish players for being powerful in real life. You can't sell jerseys off their fire and then try to dim it when it makes you uncomfortable. It's time to track this bias. Start keeping receipts. Start naming names. Start demanding transparency reports. Because this ain't about one tech or one player. This is about a league culture that says, we love you when you're winning, but only if you do it quietly. Nah, we done being quiet. We here to speak up, stand tall, and keep the fire lit. For every black woman who refuses to shrink just to stay on the floor.
And let me say this too. When we talk about bias in officiating, we're not just talking about discrimination. We're talking about control. This is how institutions regulate black expression, through punishment, through silence, through fear of retaliation. And the results, You've got elite athletes walking on eggshells in their own league, players forced to play it safe emotionally so that they don't lose playing time, money, and their reputation. That's not freedom. That's not equality. That's not the game we're trying to build. So to the league, to the ref, to the fans, if you say you love the game, then let black women play it fully. Let them celebrate. Let them express. Let them be human, because the court ain't just a playing field. It's a cultural battlefield. And right now, the refs are holding the whistle like a weapon.
Facts. Matter of fact, let's keep it a buck. What's not being said loud enough is this ain't just about refs. This is about the whole damn system. The media, the fans, the brands, the narratives. Because the moment a black woman athlete steps on the court with fire, focus, and swagger, the labels start flying. She's aggressive. She's bitter. She's a problem. She got an attitude. But let Becky do the exact same thing. She competitive. She gritty. She got that dog in her. She a leader. You see that switch? It ain't about what was done. It's about who did it. That ain't just lazy reporting. That's racialized narrative control. And let's be real. Those headlines don't just live online. They shape everything. How fans boo or cheer. How refs make that call. How brands pick faces for campaigns. How the league protects some and leaves others hanging. You got DiJonai Carrington get dragged for locking up on defense, but then Caitlin Clark gets a standing O for talking spicy in the same breath. That's not equal treatment. That's not just the game. That's selective celebration, and it's loud. So we're calling it exactly what it is. A media machine built to center one image of passion and punish the rest. But over here, I'm telling y'all, we ain't playing those games. We uplift all fire. We respect all intensity. And we're going to keep calling out these double standards until the whole damn court is level.
And let's go even deeper, because it's not just words, it's strategy. The league is clearly shifting its spotlight toward conservative white male fan bases. That's not conspiracy, that's math. Look at who's being promoted. Look at the merchandise. Look at where the coverage is going and who's left out of the photo. The problem, when you build your brand on white comfort, you put black players at risk, because now anything they say, any passion they show is seen as threatening to the new audience. Their very presence becomes something to manage instead of something to champion. And this is how dehumanization starts, when visibility doesn't come with protection. And that's what's happening now. You got players like DiJonai, Asia, Ariki, Tarina, top-tier talent, veteran vocal leaders, being reduced to a problem because the narrative is being skewed towards white acceptance and corporate neutrality. It's a dangerous path. And when the league trades authenticity for access, because black women built this league with sweat, skill, and soul, and now they're being told to smile more, celebrate less, and not ruin the moment.
Okay, Lil C, let's ask the real question. Who actually gets to be passionate in NW? Because let's not pretend it ain't colorblind. The league don't treat it that way. The refs don't call it that way. And the fans, yeah, they don't cheer it that way either. We've all seen it. Viral clips of white players screaming, chest beating, flexing on their opponent. The crowd goes wild. ESPN slow-mos it with dramatic music and calls it heart, grit, swagger. But let a black woman yell, "Let's go!" after a bucket. Now she's unsportsmanlike. Now she's doing too much. Now she's not showing grace. Now, that ain't just bias. That's a whole double standard. And it's been baked into the game, from the broadcast booth to the bleachers. This is what happens when media narratives get built around hierarchy, not equity. When black excellence get treated like a threat, not a triumph. When fire from black women gets policed while fire from others gets praised. So when we say protect these players, we're not just talking about elbows in the paint. We mean protect their humanity. Protect their full expression. Protect them from being rewritten through a biased lens that keeps painting confidence as classless and leadership as loud. This ain't hate. This is hierarchy, dressed up as sports coverage. And the media plays a lead role. They decide who's relatable, who's graceful, who's a problem. Until that narrative lens gets corrected, black women in this league will keep having to fight two battles. One against the defender in front of them, and one against the story being told around them.
So what do? First, we tell the truth. Just like we're doing right now. We hold the media outlets accountable. We uplift black voices in sport journalism. We track our players are covered, who gets praised and who gets policed. And we remind the league, There is no WNBA without black women. You can't profit off their labor and silence their leadership. You can't rebrand the league without respecting its foundation. If the media and the league wants new fans, fine. But don't sell out the women who carried this league before it was trendy. Don't trade passion for politics, because what's at stake isn't just fairness. It's the soul of the game.
Let's talk about the real elephant in the room. The way black women's very presence gets read as a threat. Because let's run the tape. DiJonai Carrington didn't throw a chair. She didn't cause a scene. She didn't quarter nobody or get loud. She walked up, calm, professional, legit, to ask a question after the game. And they called security. So let's be real. What exactly was the threat? Or better yet, what has this system been conditioned to fear? So there's a historical script that's still running in the background. One that's older than the WNBA, older than sports. One that says black women are too loud, too angry, too big, too much. Even when we're silent, even when we're composed, even when we're just standing there. This ain't just about DiJonai. This is about a cultural blueprint that's been used to discipline and control black femininity since the plantation. From slavery to segregation to now, there's always been this idea that when a black woman stands up, she must be about to cause harm. So the system moves to contain her fast. This ain't about rules, it's about perception. It's about a lens that sees black women as a problem before we ever say a word. And if we don't name it, it keeps showing up in the game. And who gets policed, and who gets silenced, and who gets labeled dangerous for simply existing in power. So we're not whispering it. We're saying it plain. Black women are not threats. We are truth. We are presence. We are power. And we are done shrinking.
And let's call it what it is. Policing black women's energy is a projection of fear, not a reflection of reality. And this fear, it often isn't conscious. A lot of these refs don't even realize what they're reacting to. But that's what makes it so dangerous. Because when unconscious bias holds the whistle, black women don't just play the game. They play defense against perception itself. The assumption is if she's intense, she's dangerous. If she's passionate, she's angry. If she's assertive, she's aggressive. And that framing travels. It shows up in fan reaction, media headlines, and split-second officiating decisions. So we're not just asking, why did the ref call security? We're asking, what made calm black presence register as a threat? Because the reaction says far more about the worldview of the authority figure than it does about the athlete that is in front of them.
Exactly. We've been trained to treat authority like it's neutral, like it's just doing its job. But let's cut the fluff. Authority is not neutral. It comes with bias, with fear, with ego. And when that authority gets uncomfortable just because a black woman is standing tall, calm, and in her power, we're not watching professionalism. We're watching the system glitch in real time. Because the truth is, black women ain't feared for what they do. They're feared for what they represent. Power, freedom, resistance. When that shows up outside the script, outside the smiley, palatable, marketable boxing society builds for black women, the system don't know what to do. So it panics. And that panic, it hides behind words like protocol, respectability, or in this case, security. That's not about safety. That's about control. So when we ask, what are they really afraid of? We're not just asking about one ref or one moment. We're asking, who's allowed to stand in their full self without consequence? Who gets to speak truth to power and not get punished for it? Who gets to exist loudly and boldly while being black and woman and not get treated like a threat? Because until that answer shifts, the game ain't fair. And we're going to keep shining light on it every single time.
And that's why DiJonai moment matters. Not just because it was unfair, but because it's familiar. Every black woman listening has felt that shift in the room, that tension, that unspoken accusation. And yet they show up anyway. So let's flip the script. DiJonai wasn't a threat. She was a mirror. And what that ref saw in that moment wasn't danger. It was discomfort with being questioned by someone he didn't expect to hold power. That's why this conversation can't stop at bad officiating. This is about cultural perception, structural response, and the quiet fear that still follows black women in public spaces, even in the so-called progressive world of sports.
All right, fam. We broke it all the way down. The double standards, the fear, the coded language, the silence from the top. So now let's talk about what this moment really calls for. Change. Because what happened to DiJonai Carrington, that's not just her story. It's every black woman who's ever had to shrink, stay quiet, or play it safe just to be accepted in a system that was never built for her. So here's what we're putting on the table. Here's the action. Number one, run the receipts. Full officiating audit. We want the data. Break it down by race, position, and situation. Who's getting teed up? Who's getting ejected? Who's getting warned? And why? Bring sunlight to the stats so we can stop acting like this is all coincidence. Number two, respectful debrief protocols, not police encounters. Players should be able to walk up post-game and ask a damn question without being treated like a threat. Security should never be plan A for a calm conversation. If there's no real escalation, there should be no security call, period. Number three, public accountability. Where's the WNBA's 2-minute report? The NBA got one. We want ours. What calls were missed? What was said post-game? What's being reviewed? Refs are part of the game. They shouldn't be immune to feedback or protected by silence. Transparency ain't optional. This is bigger than one moment. This is about rewriting how this league sees, treats, and protects black women, not just as athletes, but as whole people. We're not asking, we're demanding.
And let's not stop there. We need an independent hotline or review board where players can report bias, especially racial bias in officiating. Right now, they have no safe avenue to express concern without risking fines or retaliation. That has to change. We need something with teeth, not just performative HR language. But policy ain't enough without pressure. This is where the fans come in. We need to organize, start petitions, flood the WNBA comment box. Use your platform, post it power. Let's launch some digital campaigns. Let her play. Hashtag fair whistle. Hashtag reclaim the court. Every time a ref crosses the line, every time black joy is punished or black leadership is dismissed, we need to push back. We need to demand better.
Let's make it plain. We love this game. But love without accountability, that ain't love. That's performance. The league want to talk equity, want to talk women's empowerment, want to run ads with black faces and we are the W slogans. Cool. Now prove it. Don't just profit off the players, protect them. Don't just tell their stories when it's cute. Stand with them when it's uncomfortable. Because DiJonai Carrington wasn't being dramatic. She was being clear, direct, composed, human. And if that shakes the system, then man, the system is the problem. So let's reimagine the game. A league where black women don't have to shrink, smile, or swallow their truth just to stay safe. A culture where passion ain't policed, where presence ain't criminalized, where power ain't punished. We done with hashtags that go nowhere. We talking demands. We talking statements. We talking policy, not PR. The players, they've been doing the work. They risked it all. They risked it all every night on and off the court. Now it's time for the league, the media, and the fans to stop being performative and pull up for real.
Let's go. Let's get loud. Let's get organized. And let's never let another moment like this pass in silence again. We're not just calling out bias. We're calling injustice. Because when we say let her play, we mean let her live, let her lead, let her question, let her be.
Damn, this one was hot and it had to be. Because what happened to DiJonai Carrington, this wasn't just a moment. It was a mirror showing us how deep the policing of black women goes, even in the so-called progressive spaces, even in the league that claims empowerment but still flinches at unapologetic black presence. So before we close out, this is a message for the ones holding it down night after night. DiJonai, Angel Reese, Asia Wilson, Arike Agumbawale, Tierra McCowan, Rakia Jackson, and every single black woman in the dub and beyond. We see you, we believe you, we ride for you. Your presence is protest. Your passion is power. Your fire is fuel. And your resistance, whether it's a stare, a tweet, a locked-in stance, or a mic drop moment, is history in motion. They may try to dim your light, control your image, or rewrite your story. But over here, we're not letting that happen. You're not too much. You're not the problem. You are the revolution.
And let it be. Let it be real. Rebellion isn't always loud. Sometimes it's a question, a calm, collected, well-deserved question. At the wrong time in the wrong place, according to the rules. But that's how change starts, by daring to expect an answer. We want our listeners to not just hear this, but to act. Share this episode. Start a conversation at your watch parties, on your timelines, in your group chats. Call out double standards. Call in the accountability. Because this ain't just basketball. It's about who gets to show up, speak up, and still be safe.
All right. That's it for this episode of PoliSports Tea Time. But this combo, it don't end here. What happened to DiJonai is a moment, but it's also a movement. And over here at Cess Talk Sports, BY's PoliSports Podcast, we're not just watching, we're witnessing, documenting, and disrupting. So as always, if you felt this episode in your spirit, drop a comment, share it with your people, and keep the conversation going. Don't just talk about it, be about it. And the black women holding it down in every arena, classroom, office, and court, keep shining, keep showing up, keep taking up space. You're not asking for too much. You are the standard. Till next time, it's favorite auntie with Uncle Tennessee Cess and Political Lil signing off. Y'all stay bold, stay loud, stay rooted. And remember, we're not here to fit in. We're here to flip the whole game. Stay tuned. Talk soon, y'all. We out.